Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Saturday's feature race at Delaware is the Obeah. We're going a mile and a 16th for fillies and mares. Before we get to the field, though, it is Memorial Day weekend. Check out the Memorial Day sale at shop.drf.com, up to 50% off DRF past performances, picks, clocker reports, and the DRF digital paper. Here's the field now for the Obeah. It's the local prep for the prestigious Delaware Handicap later this summer. Morning Matcha really found herself towards the end of last year for trainer Butch Reed and came back on the right foot sprinting. Thought that distance might have been a little bit sharp for her. She was facing a stablemate that is a sharp sprinter, and Morning Matcha won that race very easily.
Yeah, she did win it easily. I mean, it was a very short field, Dan. Only 3 other horses in there along with Morning Matcha. But I was with you. I felt like, maybe sprinting off the layoff was just a prep and it would be too short for her. It wasn't. She earned a career best Beyer speed figure.
She is a grade 1 placed runner around 2 turns. But as we throw up the Timeform U.S. pace projector, I'm interested in your opinion, Mike. Morning Matcha in most of her races last year came from off of the pace. I'm not sure she has to be last in the Obeah, but that's where Timeform U.S. has her. You'll note the LP flag designation over her chiclet, which means that she has the fastest late pace rating.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I expect her to be. That tends to be her running style, sort of somewhere off the pace, even though that wasn't the case last time. Sprinting, that was also a very slow pace, Dan. I didn't really see much to argue with here as far as the pace projector goes. I did think that the 3 was going to the lead in this race. The 5 wants to be forward. The 6 is a very tactical horse from the outside, and I think she'll be within range early as well. I thought this pace projector pretty much nailed it.
Let's watch Morning Matcha's 2023 comeback in the Unique Bella. Again, it was a 4-horse field going 7 furlongs. The 1 to 5 favorites are stablemate. Morning Matcha sort of pushed the pace down towards the inside, eased out on the turn. You'll note she doesn't change leads, but she doesn't have to. She wins this race under hands and heels urging only.
Yeah, she wins very easily. The trip was there for her. A slow pace in this race actually really helped her because she didn't really have to work hard in the early stages. And ultimately, as good as that stablemate is, the 1 to 5 stablemate that she beat, as good as that horse is, when you look at her PPs, boy, she's really, really questionable beyond 6 furlongs. And they've tried her 7 furlongs now 3 times, and she was terrible in all of those races. So I don't know, man. I'm not going to knock Morning Matcha for running the race that she did there. She was in good form late last year. She came off the layoff looking really well. She's obviously a major contender in here. I can't say that I'd be falling all over myself to take a short price on her in this field.
She does have all the fast recent Beyer speed figures on her page, however. The number 2 is Tap the Faith, coming down from New York for trainer Christophe Clement. This Tap It filly has won 2 of her last 3 races, including this performance. Second level allowance at the Big A, going a 1-turn mile on a good track, gets to the outside of the leader, and she's going to grind this horse down, Mike. This horse cost $1.25 million as a yearling. They're trying to get some black type.
Yeah, it hasn't really worked out for them yet. They paid a lot of money for her. We'll see how much more improvement she can find here as an older horse. Dan, she ran fine in here. She was last early. She managed to just sort of work her way into position, got a really good trip, I thought, and got the job done. I can't say that I was, blown away with that performance. I don't like the field that she beat necessarily, but she did get the job done. I don't really know what to do with her, Dan. It's interesting that she's in here. After her career debut, I thought there was a chance she was going to be really good. I thought she ran really well that day. I haven't really liked much that she's done since then.
Pistol Liz Ablazin is the number 3. This is the uncoupled stablemate of the number 1 Morning Matcha, both trained by Butch Reed. This one has speed. Showed it 2 starts back in the Nellie Morse at Laurel. Finished 3rd that day behind a couple of these. They ran in a 2nd level allowance with her last time out at Parks. This is last month. They tried off-pace tactics, and she's going to keep going after this horse on the lead, and she'll eventually just miss by a length. I think it was the right move to take her off the pace. This pace was pretty solid, but it's nice to know that she's adaptable. She's lightly raced. She has upside. She better use it.
Yeah, agreed. They did try something different here, and she's really trying through the stretch of this race, but she just can't really make up the necessary ground. I actually felt like it was a step in the wrong direction for them, and I expect them to go back to the lead with her in here. And listen, maybe she's just in here to provide some pace for Morning Matcha, who's going to be a short price. But The first time they stretched her out last October, I know it was a wet track then. I thought she ran great that day. She took tons of pressure on the lead. That pace was fast. She did not stop, and she actually ran away from that field late. Even when she finished behind a couple of these 2 starts back, I thought she ran really, really well that day. I think she's a little interesting here if she can shake loose.
Trainer Brittany Russell's winning just about everything the last month or two. You can click on her name in your free formulator PPs when you bet this race with your DRF Bets account. Hybrid Eclipse has that sort of in and out thing going, doesn't she? Win and then an okay third, then a win, then a bad seventh. I think getting out to 2 turns works for Hybrid Eclipse. This sort of a grinding type of mare. The additional distance is better for her. I've never been her biggest fan, although I respect her consistency for Russell. Her last race, she was probably up against it. There was just no pace in that race, and the top 2 finishers are good, but she also didn't do any running.
Yeah, that's a real concern. That was a poor performance last time. She ran fine 2 back when she beat a couple of these horses, but she got a perfect trip in that race to get the job done. Listen, maybe she'll get another one here, but I'm kind of with you, Dan. I don't think she's that good, and I didn't feel like she'd be that much of a price in this race either.
Award Wanted's at the board in her last 8 races, has good experience, winning experience at Delaware Park for Jerry Robb, and she ran okay last time out in the Heavenly Cause. They got her up close to that sort of moderate pace. She's just not as good as the top 2 horses right now. The runner-up past the Champagne came back to win the Grade 2 Ruffian in New York with a 94 Beyer speed figure. So she seems somewhat adaptable from a pace standpoint. She likes this course. She's in good form. Do I think she needs to run a career best? Probably, but she'll be a decent price, and she's not out of it.
I agree with all that stuff. I don't really have anything to add to it, Dan. I do think she can get the right trip in this race, and maybe that goes a long way for her. I can't say that I love her, but I do think she's going to be a fair price in this race. And I don't feel like this is the kind of field where, you just can't take a shot against the favorites. I mean, I didn't think anybody really stood out in this field.
I think we're getting to the point where we have to ask ourselves whether Traverse is a stakes horse or not. She's won 4 of her last 6 races. All 4 of those races came in non-stakes races. In the Pippin in her first start in 2023, all right, they ran 1-2 all the way around the track, and she ran okay to be 4th. Last time out in the Double Dog Dare, she'd take money in that race. She was basically in between horses, and she was all done once they entered the second turn. I don't know if I want to give up on her yet. She's getting a drop in class. She does have tactical speed. You could argue the Double Dog Dare was a much stronger race. I know you're a big fan of Frost Point. The 4th horse, Interstate Daydream, came back to win the DuPont last week with a 92. If she's going to do it, it might be in this spot.
Yeah, I think that's probably the key takeaway, Dan. She didn't run well last time when they moved her up in class. That field, light years better than this one. That was a really good field. I think she's more of a fit in here. And I really like her running style. She has the outside post in here, but it's a short field. I think she's going to get a perfect trip.
Well, let's take a look at our top selections for Saturday's Obeah at Delaware. It's the preview race at Delaware Park for the Delaware Handicap. Mike, you're going Pistol Liz Ablazin. You like that race in the slop, going 2 turns last year where she dominated 3 next out winners. She's going to get up front in here. Maybe she takes this race all the way at a price.
Yeah, she's going to be a price in here. I didn't want the horses who were going to take the money. And I just felt like there was a chance that maybe she gets to the lead in here and gets a little bit brave, Dan. So I'm going to bet the race that way because I think it's going to be worth it to try it. I put her stablemate second. I think she's the horse to beat.
I agree with you. I think Morning Match's way the horse to beat. I do want to give Traverse one more try. She looks so good in these non-stakes races, and she hasn't been able to actually duplicate that form when the black type is on the line. But as you said, I think she's going to work out a good trip, and I think she'll be right there when they turn for home. 3164 for Mike, 6125 for me. Saturday's Obeah at Delaware, opening weekend at Delaware. Good luck.